Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from Addis Ababa. Desawe Kanda. Coming up tonight, President John Dramani Mahama declares that Ghana's current program with the IMF will be the nation's final, but also commits to what he has started over the period within this 1 year that he has been in office. He says that with what has been achieved within the 1 year period, his commitment is to ensure that the next 1 year will be an improvement on what has been achieved over the last 1 year. Stay with us. We'll get into it and also look at aspects of his tenure within this 1 year period on matters of fight against corruption and governance generally. Also tonight, opposition New Patriotic Party declares it will field a candidate for the Ayawaso East by-election despite the constituency being a traditional NDC safe seat. Well, we'll tell you exactly why the NPP intends to do this. Stay with us tonight here on Ghana Tonight. Also, we have a conversation on inflation tonight because December 2025 recorded a 5.4 percentage point in inflation rate. That's a reduction from 6.3 in the previous month of November. Now we're beginning this year with a strong inflation rate. What does that mean for policy rate and then also for the economic consolidation that the administration of John Dramani Mahama intends to pursue in the second year? Stay with us. You're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get the conversation going. Settle for Ghana Braves now.
President Mahama has cautioned Ghanaians to brace themselves for a demanding year ahead while pledging development and progress in every part of the country. Speaking at a non-denominational Thanksgiving service to mark his first year in office, the president warned that 2026 would test the nation's resolve, patience and discipline, but insists it would also present opportunities to accelerate growth.
As we look back on the past year, we do so honestly. We have taken difficult decisions. We have undertaken difficult reforms. We've laid the foundations that may not yet be visible, but are sustainable for the sustainable progress of our country. We have prioritized economic stabilization, institutional reform, social protection, and the restoration of confidence, both within our country and in the international community. The work we have begun is far from finished. But today reminds us that progress is not measured only by numbers and by charts and diagrams. It is also measured by hope that is restored, by trust that is rebuilt, and correct direction that is regained.
a year.
Civil society group Arise Ghana says despite some government interventions in key economic sectors, the fight against corruption and illegal mining has been unsatisfactory. The group, during a news conference in Accra, also demanded the repatriation of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to face justice, with an impending picket to press their demand.
On the issue of Galamsey, I think we've been very clear in the past that it's an existential threat to all Ghanaians, including those of us seated here and those of you who are broadcasting. We would expect that the president continues with the good work that they are doing, not only with the gold board, because note, if there's no incentive to go and dig, no one will mine. If the gold board stops the smuggling of gold and aggregating of gold is done, our economy will improve and Galamsey will stop.
The Minister for Education, Haruna Iddrisu, has clarified that the Mahama-led administration will not issue a white paper on the ongoing constitutional review process. The Tamale South legislator explained that the constitution review report submitted to President Mahama is currently being scrutinized by a team of legal experts.
The constitutional review process which was set up under the Prempeh Committee is not the same as the constitutional review established under Article 278 of the 1992 Constitution by President J.A. Mills. So currently, there's a team of crack lawyers who are reviewing the report that was submitted to Excellency John Dramani Mahama. After that scrupulous scrutiny, it will be subject to cabinet, party, political party, and public engagement. And as the President rightly announced yesterday, there will be a constitutional review implementation committee which will walk through the process of entrenched and non-entrenched provisions.
Prosper Tachi has been elected the new president of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. Tachi secured 436 votes, representing 61.8% of the total votes cast, to defeat the incumbent president, Reverend Isaac Owusu, who obtained 266 votes, accounting for 38%.
We have a lot of challenges confronting our teachers, our members, which is known. But the issue has been finding antidotes, solutions to these challenges. And that was a simple message I came on board with. That going forward as teachers, NAT members, we need to look at means and ways of identifying solutions to confront the challenges before us. And I know very well this message resonated well with our teachers, and that is why they have granted me the opportunity to lead the single biggest union within Ghana here.
Executive Secretary of National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Dr. Adam Bonar, says compliance has been encouraging the ongoing Ghana Amnesty Program, with thousands of weapons already surrendered. Dr. Bonar warns that those who fail to comply by the deadline risk arrest and prosecution.
Some of who are suspected to have weapons have already voluntarily surrendered the weapons without themselves knowing that someone had already given us a tip-off that ABD has a weapon. But once the amnesty ends, it means that we are not waiting for you. You will be arrested. Thousands of these weapons that have been coming in, being surrounded, these are weapons that, have been used, maybe, or would have been used to foment trouble in this country.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. Coming up next, how do you rate the first year of John Dramani Mahama, his second term as President of the Republic of Ghana? Well, we'll delve into some perspective with respect to the fight against corruption, and then also the matter of governance generally. Well, today, the 7th of January, 2026, marks exactly a year President John Dramani Mahama was sworn in as President of the Republic of Ghana for the second time. Now, that's for his second term as President. He's cautioned Ghanaians to brace themselves for a demanding year. That's how he put it. He says 2026 is going to be a demanding year, while pledging development and progress in every part of the country. Speaking at a non-denominational Thanksgiving service earlier today to mark his first year in office, the president warned that 2026 would test the nation's resolve, patience, and discipline. Three things. This year would test the nation's resolve, patience, and discipline. But he's insisting it would also present opportunities to accelerate growth. Take a listen to him.
As we look back on the past year, we do so honestly. We have taken difficult decisions. We have undertaken difficult reforms. We've laid the foundations that may not yet be visible, but are sustainable for the sustainable progress of our country. We have prioritized economic stabilization, institutional reform, social protection, and the restoration of confidence, both within our country and in the international community. The work we have begun is far from finished, but today reminds us that progress is not measured only by numbers and by charts and diagrams. It is also measured by hope that is restored, by trust that is rebuilt, and correct direction that is regained. We recommit ourselves to listening, especially to the voices of our vulnerable, our youth, and those who feel excluded. And we recommit ourselves to the unity of our nation, knowing that Ghana's strength has always come from our ability to rise above division and work together for the common good.
That's the president there, clearly giving an indication of how the year will be going ahead. But some groups and associations have also been assessing the Mahama's 1 year in office in his second term. One of these groups is the spare parts dealers at Abose Okai here in Accra, and we interacted with them. Take a listen.
Pusha last year, nyama okoso yebedi brain nyama okoso nyama na ne boy din bibi te say omo na ade ne angwa no the way ne boy pagya okoso no ama time we afi this year December we say nyama ko fom no me na okoye ma me pa
at least mama no be 65%. So why are there the okoye ma say e say aduane ayedi oman bia na aduane no ko fom a aduane ne boy ko fom a mama omano members na ewumi no omo ye free dollar na agina no aboyen
as you come we say 24-hour economy 24-hour economy no still now me myself haven't seen nothing.
What percentage will you give him?
I'll give him like 40%.
We want the banks to give a lot of loans to individuals so that they can establish, people can establish more businesses so that they can employ people. Because if you go to America, Asia, and all those places, they run 24-hour. Yeah, they are doing the same thing. So if we run that 24 hours, I think this will be better for us.
Well, these are some spare parts dealers at Abose Okai, the spare parts hub here in Accra. The vision views you see them and the rates that they are giving the president 1 year on as president of the Republic of Ghana. Musa Danquest Global Info Analytics, they did a poll about the president's job approval 1 year on, and this was the outcome. And 67% out of the over 13,000 respondents within this poll say they approve of the president's job. And we're going to put that on the screen right now. That is consistent with the outcome of the poll as well in October last year, 2025. So between October and December, the same number of respondents, same sample size, but different locations, over 13,000 approve of the president's job. And guess what? in October 2025, 22% said they disapprove. But if you see the data in December 2025, the persons who say they disapprove of the president's job increased by 2 percentage points to 24%. But then those who say they have no opinion actually also reduced from 11% to 9%. So what that essentially means is that those who in October 2025 said they didn't have an opinion of the president's job now express their opinion in disapproval of his job as president of the Republic of Ghana. But then if you see the 67% approval rate has been consistent, at least from October to December. That is what they put out in this. But we're zeroing in on some aspects of the president's turn-up or his first year in office in his second term as president of the Republic of Ghana. Because if you recall, right from Monday, we've been touching on fight against corruption, 1 year on, the economy, 1 year on. We're zooming in on corruption as well tonight. And then what we did with Galamsey yesterday as well. For civil society group, Arise Ghana, they say that despite some commitment that has been shown in the fight against Galamsey and also the fight against corruption, they say not much has been done in terms of their expectation with the fight against corruption and Galamsey. They had a press conference earlier today. Take a look.
On the issue of Galamsey, I think we've been very clear in the past that it's an existential threat to all Ghanaians, including those of us seated here and those of you who are broadcasting. We would expect that the president continues with the good work that they are doing, not only with the gold board, because note, if there's no incentive to go and dig, no one will mine. If the gold board stops the smuggling of gold and aggregating of gold is done, our economy will improve and Galamsey will stop. And we believe that the president will not and must not shield anyone. We want to also entreat the Speaker of Parliament, who has indicated that he will not shield any Galamsey MPs, to take his word and mean it and act upon it. Oral is Operation Recover all the loot and not some of the loot. And so we would want all the loot to be recovered. But we've listened to the Ghanaian people. We continue to listen to the Ghanaian people. So you will join us when we go to the American Embassy, for example, to picket for the American Embassy to allow Ken to come back and face justice, just like they want some heads of state in some countries to face justice back in America.
They want a lot more to be done in the fight against corruption. So, but then, Musa Danquah's poll also touched on the state of the fight against corruption within this 1 year period of John Mahama's second term. And this was the outcome. Asked that question of this over 13,000 respondents. In October 2025, 53% of the respondents say there is an improvement in the fight against corruption in this country. That increased to 56% in December 2025. But those who say, well, there hasn't been any change. Look, the fight against corruption is the same, actually reduced from 24% in October last year to 20%. And those who say corruption has worsened within the 1 year period that John Mahama has been president in his second term, increased from 16% in October 2025 to 17% in December 2025. Those who say they have no opinion also saw a 2 percentage point rise within the period that Musa Danquah polled. But he asked a question about the most trusted arms of government. And, well, he added the media. We are not an arm of government, but the fourth estate of the realm as we've been described. Guess what? The respondents say they trust the media more than the executive, the judiciary, and parliament, for that matter. So that tells you a certain direction. But let me just bring you the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Adam Senano, is joining us right now on Zoom for a conversation on this development. Senano, good evening. Thank you for joining us. 1 year of President John Dramani Mahama as president in his second term. What would be your verdict on the fight against corruption within the first 12 months on a scale of 1 to 10? You heard Arise Ghana, they say it's unsatisfactory.
Well, I would accord him, I'll say he's performed creditably. I probably will give between 6 and 7 over 10. And I'll say that looking at the data, so let me put it this way. Listen, in their own commitments to the people of Ghana in their manifesto, I think that's chapter 6 of their manifesto. Under good governance, they had about 11 indicators. As I reviewed them earlier this week, there are about 4 of them they have tackled. That's in the first year of a 4-year term. If you spread those indicators, you'll be talking about doing at least 3 of them each year. So if they've done 4 in the first year, which include cutting down the size of the government to 60, and if I remember, we're more than double that, which they have done. There was the realignment and merging of ministries, which they have done. There was the cutting down of the size of politically assigned people at the Office of Government Machinery, which they've worked hard. And then there was also the setting up of the Commission on the Constitutional Review Commission, which they've also done. So 4 out of the 11 there, I think at least I could immediately connect and say they've done. And if I look at a target of at least, if they were targeting and spreading over the 4 years, I think that's a reasonable step. Then the second section, which had 15 indicators on the anti-corruption, again, there were about 6 I could identify as things they've worked at. And they're quite substantive one. Following the oral was number 1. Investigate, prosecute, recover. Even though in that instance, the prosecution and recovery hasn't transpired the way we expect it to. So that's something to be looked at. There was also supporting the AGs, the Attorney General, to apply the surcharge rules and make sure it is working. That has been going on. There was also the issue of looking at a review of the, I think, assets declaration. There was also the issue of engaging the judiciary on a specialized court, which has happened. So as I went through, there were about 6 out of those 15 that have also seen some traction in the first year. I think the 2 or 3 things that, for me, are very critical. First of all, for the first time, we've had a special advisor and unit on anti-corruption to the president. And that office has been at the forefront of leading us to develop the National Anti-Corruption and Ethics Strategy, which should be rolled out this first quarter of this year. That has been significant because a lot of effort went into that in the last 6 months of 2025. Again, when the president, for example, in spite of the hue and whatever by Parliament and whatnot, said no, the office of the Special Prosecutor is too young. It's not. We are not at the point where we should be talking about scrapping it. That showed leadership. It showed a leader who understands that we expect our politicians to be accountable, and that office was established particularly to hold the politicians accountable. So if they're the first to say let's scrap it, that actually is in bad faith. So I would say that there's every indication of a strong commitment to good governance and anti-corruption.
I see, and also on the anti-corruption bit that you ended on, you heard Arise Ghana. They talk about oral, and that they've been engaging citizens, testing the pulse of citizens. Citizens are losing confidence in terms of how speedy the trials are going and how oral is working, for that matter. He's not the only one who's expressed this sentiment. Now, would you agree with that, especially taking into consideration the promise of oral and how it hit the ground running with the preparatory team? The expectation was that at least within the 1 year, 1 or 2 persons who were named in there would have been either asked to some monies retrieved or even incarcerated for the said acts of corruption that they were tagged with. Would you agree?
Well, I think your question was more of an assessment of the president. If you say, if you had looked at it at the level of the government or at the level of the attorney general, then I'll have other things to say. But at the level of the president, I'm saying that what were the commitments? The anti-corruption part had 15 indicators. Oral is just one. In fact, it's the first one in that list, if I remember correctly. But it's 1 out of 15. But we cannot pick that one and make that become the overwhelming or overarching indicator of everything. And even in that one, was oral established? Yes. The citizens respond? Yes. Were cases collected? Yes. Where has the gap been? It's really about the completion of investigation. The cases are sent to court for prosecution and recovery. And that's where perhaps we should be looking at what strategy is the AG using. I have said that I don't think that we should, run at a pace that we can and then breach the rights of persons. But at the same time, it should be possible to say we are bringing on board, let's say, private lawyers, maybe spread the cases a little to get the OSP and other entities involved in looking at some of these cases so that you have many more hands on board to get better results. Indeed, is one of the reasons why I'm excited about the president's call for a specialized court. And my recommendation was that let's not talk about one specialized court, which is what they captured in the manifesto. If you take Kenya, they have as many as 12 specialized anti-corruption courts. And specialized courts are not the same as fast-track courts. With the fast-track court thing we did in Ghana, the fast-track was about mechanization. So they brought in equipment so that the hearings could be recorded, the summary notes could be gotten faster, there were microphones, and so on and so forth. That was just like bringing in technology. But with specialized courts, what we are saying is that you need people who understand the anti-corruption terrain, understand that the threshold of evidence in our space ought to be different. It cannot be the same as you use in the criminal cases, in which case then you're going to lose probably almost every anti-corruption case. So you need the investigators trained differently, prosecutors trained differently, and the judges especially, such that then you can run this. And in Kenya, they run it on a daily basis. The cases are ahead daily, and they will add weekends if they are about to miss the 6-month threshold. They have a 6-month target for every single case, and they meet that target. So there are things that we will need to change in our space if we really are serious about making sure that we can get many of these cases dispensed with, rulings out, and persons held culpable or accountable for things or actions that have been taken against the state.
I see. And let me welcome Franklin Cudjoe, is the founder president of Imani Africa Policy Think Tank. So good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening. Good evening.
What would be your verdict on Operation Recover or Loot 1 year on? You headed them, Senator, I know there. Quick one on this.
I think we've made some noticeable progress, but I think we could do a lot more. I wouldn't say that I'm too happy about the way things have gone. At least some investigations have been done, but I think the speed with which we want things done and the persons that also to be targeted, I feel we haven't really done. We need to move at some speed, and so oral needs an upgrade. That's what I would say.
I see. There's some update, some quick turnaround that you're expecting in 2026. There has been that kind of reaction. You heard Arise Ghana and talk about how speedy the trials have been and the level of expectation that people had about oral because of the preparatory team's work, and the perception was that watertight evidence hit the ground running, and people should have either been in jail or some monies recovered at least within the shortest possible time. That hasn't happened. Is it a legitimate expectation to have had within that 1 year period?
Well, of course, I suspect that those who were promoting oral were the ones who actually raised all our hopes, right? And so our hopes have been raised, and now we are. And I don't think we've matched the. We've matched the not rhetoric. We've matched the reality as against expectations, and I worry because you see, going into next year, look, the government needs to. People will start complaining, and I think the complaints will become a lot more. if they don't see quick prosecutions. I worry greatly that we are moving at a very slow pace and things are not happening. Of course, certain cases are being seen and heard, but I suspect that there'll be a lot of firepower coming through the heads of the various, should I call it the Attorney Generals of it. And maybe, you see, what I also thought should have been done, I suspect that maybe this is what the Attorney General should actually do. Maybe they should actually recruit a lot more, should I call them, good people, lawyers who could prosecute. Because this whole thing where the whole thing seems to be managed by a few people, frankly speaking, is annoying. It's really annoying. I thought that by now you'd have a raft of cases, at least if we are being given updates, because once those young prosecutors start, right, we have a lot more updates to be given. Then we know that people are being processed, and of course, we probably should start having some special tribunals. Otherwise,
Right.
what is happening is at an unknowingly slow pace, and I don't think it matches the hype we got from Ora. I don't think it is. The hype we got from Ora was Charlie. Our face showed that people ran away, but unfortunately, Charlie, just a few people. I don't think we are doing well. So a lot needs to be done. Yeah.
Mr. Kujo, stay with me. There's some news just coming through. Some news is just breaking news right now, fresh on the plate. This is Ghana Tonight. Just coming through, breaking news right now, and this is with regards to Kenneth Nanaya Okonkwo-Ofori-Atta, the former finance minister of the Republic of Ghana. And Mr. Kujo, we're talking about oral, and this news has just hit us right now. And we're going to put a statement from his lawyers on the screen. That is Menka Premo Osebonsu, Bruce, Kathleen, and partners. They say, the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, as of yesterday, detained the former Minister for Finance, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, regarding the status of his current stay in the United States. His U.S. legal team is in contact with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement and expects the matter to be resolved expeditiously. Mr. Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of status, which authorizes a person to stay in the United States legally past the period of validity of their visa under U.S. law. A change of status by this method is common. The public is therefore advised to note that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, as a law-abiding person, is fully cooperating with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement to have his issue resolved. And this is coming from his lawyers in Ghana. So I'm just going to go through it. This is a statement we got officially from his lawyers communicating what has happened regarding his stay in the United States. So the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as of yesterday, they have detained the former Minister for Finance, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, regarding the status of his current stay in the United States. His U.S. legal team is in contact with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and they expect the matter to be resolved expeditiously. Kenneth Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of status, which authorizes a person to stay in the U.S. legally past the period of validity of their visa. Under U.S. law, a change of status by this method is common. The public is therefore advised to note that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, as a law-abiding person, is fully cooperating with the ICE, that's the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to have this issue resolved. So this is the latest coming through, the breaking news right now here on Ghana Tonight. And look, a number of you had referenced a particular publication, but we sought to authenticate it by first hearing from his lawyer. So this is a statement officially communicating what's happened to Ken Ofori-Atta right now from his lawyers here in Ghana. Well, Zekujo, this is it. This is the latest. And we're talking about oral. He is a subject of oral as well, a number of cases as well that been looked into. And this is what's happened right now. Zekujo.
This is a good thing. But you see, again, this is the problem I have with my good friend Ken Ofori-Atta. He's brought all of this onto himself. He should, once ICE picks you up, right, and then detains you, your case now becomes a very, you're fighting your problem. Because right now, ICE is treating you as some sort of a criminal, right? Like you probably will stay your visa, you're not going to apply. And in the process of applying, they'll say, you are facing some issues back home. They'll bangle you and throw you back here. He better praise that his lawyers are up to the game, because Trump don't play. They don't play. Once they say you are cited for criminal issues in Ghana, your problems have multiplied by several fold. And I think I blame his lawyers. They badly advised him. Everybody who spoke on his behalf was badly advising him. He should have come to Ghana long ago rather than being detained by ICE. ICE would make you like you tell me to. I don't think it's a good reputation he wants to get for himself out there. I thought it's really awful. It's really bad. And to the credit of the OSP, by the way, if the OSP had not done all these publications and all of that, why was ICE interested in him? Have you asked the question? Why
the communication from his lawyers say that this was with regards to his period of validity, the period of validity of his visa.
Yeah, but
and well, they didn't make any mention of the extradition request and so on. Yes.
Yeah, but Alfred, it's simple. Let's say the probability of ICE actually picking on Ofori-Atta may be negligible, right? We probably don't 0.001. But you see,
right,
there are many Ghanaians who may have been picked up or not at all. How come he alone has been picked up because he's detained because of was it because he was applying for an extension? Maybe that's what probably necessitated this particular situation. But ICE picking you or detaining you is a really bad situation. I mean, if you look at what ICE has been doing over the last couple of months, it's not a reputation you want to have for yourself. He better praise that his lawyers are up to the game. Otherwise, he's coming home on the next flight.
And in fact, if you look at the second paragraph of his lawyer's statement, they say that he has a pending petition for adjustment of his status, which authorizes a person to stay in the U.S. legally past the period of validity of their visa. Under U.S. law, a change of status by this method, they say, is common. But then that's the point you make, that if this is common, then why is he having to face this? Then it brings up a matter of interest in there, is it not?
Exactly, and it's a subject of interest right now, because questions are asked, why are you actually extending your visa? Go home, you are a big man, what's the problem? Why are you staying in America? Unless you are sick, then they start going to the whole case, okay, why do you want to extend your stay? What's happening to you? They say, I'm being persecuted. Who is persecuting you? Why not I chase you? They say, come and face charges in Ghana. They've gone to bangle somebody from Venezuela and brought to for crimes. And you are going to seek what I said. He better praise, really. And I said his lawyers have been one of the most disappointing people. Look at what they are doing now. They are dealing with ICE right now. It's so disgraceful. They better pray that they don't bangle him and bring him to Ghana the way he would never have wished. I pray that nothing bad happens to him. But seriously speaking, if ICE detains you, Charlie, I don't know what to say, but look, Ofori-Atta should have come to Ghana quietly and face these charges, and just go on peacefully. Unfortunately, Charlie, ICE is ICE. Once they get you, anyway. I'm not gloating. I'm not happy. I'm only disappointed that Ofori-Atta decided to be a coward, a brave coward, and didn't come home to come and face charges. Why? You should come over. Everybody, the people you work with in Ghana, most of them are facing the charges quietly, nicely, and they are even subordinates. Why are you claiming that people are persecuting you? Who is persecuting you in Ghana? And now you are the subject of ICE. I pray that nothing happens to the way it doesn't want. But his lawyers have been the most disappointing, extremely disappointing, especially those who politicize the whole matter. Made it look as if the government is after him. The government is not after the Oforiatta. The government is after Oforiatta to come and answer questions. And I think it's legitimate that he should have done that. Everybody who egged him on, oh, don't come, please. You did a great disservice to him. Now eyes are chilling. Well, let's pray for good. It's disappointing, really.
And I thank you very much for joining us, Franklin Cudjoe. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Franklin Cudjoe is the founding president of policy think tank Imani Africa there. So if you just joined us, this is the breaking news that we've been talking about. The United States, and this is the statement that we got from Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers here in Ghana. That is Menka Premo Osebon Bruce, Catling and Partners. And we're going to put that statement on the screen again for those of you who just joined us. They said the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE. That's what you hear Franklin Cudjoe talk about, ICE, Mobile, and all of that. He says that the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, as of yesterday, detained the former Minister for Finance, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, regarding the status of his current stay in the United States. His U.S. legal team is in contact with ICE and expects the matter to be resolved expeditiously. Mr. Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of status, which authorizes a person to stay in the U.S. legally past the period of validity of their visa. Under U.S. law, a change of status by this method is common. The public is therefore advised to note that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, as a law-abiding person, is fully cooperating with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement to have this issue resolved. This is signed by Justice Kosi Menka Premo Esquire, and that's for on behalf of the Menka Premo Osebon Bruce, Kathleen, and Partners. So this is fresh on the plate, coming through right now here on Ghana Tonight. This is the development with Kenneth Ofori-Atta in the United States. Well, that's Franklin Cudjoe draws a nexus between what is happening right now and then also what is happening here in Ghana regarding the extradition request and all the investigations around Ken Ofori-Atta and some of the matters that he's been involved in. But this letter from his lawyers don't state that. But clearly, Franklin believes that this cannot be two disjoint events not having any bearing or correlation. But it's one that, you know what, we're going to stay the steam on. Look, we'll see how the coming days will be on this, to the extent that this letter says it's a common method. But then again, it's not playing out as common as we're seeing right now. We'll see how things play out in the coming days on this matter. But this is one that is coming through right now here on Ghana Tonight. This is the breaking news that we've been sinking our teeth into. Stay with us. Coming up next, the New Patriotic Party says it will not throw in the towel and abstain from the impending Ayawaso East by-election. But really, what are their chances? That's the question, because, well, as we do know, this is a traditional NDC constituency right from when it was created in 1996 to date, 2024. In the last election, the NDC has dominated. They've won presidential, won parliamentary over the years. But the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Frimpong Kodia, has announced that the party will participate in the Ayawaso East by-election if the Electoral Commission eventually announces the date for that, expressing strong confidence in an NPP candidate showing up and making an impact. According to Frimpong Kodia, the party has already begun the process of selecting a suitable candidate who will enjoy broad acceptance among party members and constituents. He spoke earlier on Joy News. Take a look.
First and foremost, let me send my deepest condolences to the family and the NDC as a party. But the New Patriotic Party will contest the Ayawaso East election, by-elections. And as I speak to you, we are doing our own candidate search to get a very good well-accepted candidate to contest the Ayawaso by-election. I yesterday watched the MC at Ayawaso East making the point that to honor our departed MP, he will plead on MPP not to field a candidate to contest, which I was very surprised and shocked that he can make such a statement. I think this is not the first time we've had by-elections. When MPP decided not to contest Tamale Central, the NDC decided not to contest Akwatia. I mean, they contested, right? So for whatever reasons that influenced them to contest Akwatia, the same reason that also influencing us to also contest. In any case, it's not an issue of whether it's an NDC stronghold or it's not. No, we are going to contest and to make sure that we win the seat.
Oh, that's Justin Frimpong Kodia. Says they're going to contest and they will make sure they win the Ayawaso East seat for the first time, for that matter. And the history of the elections in that constituency tells a clear story. From 1996 to 2024, the NDC has won that constituency as the Ayawaso East. And the late Alhaji Nazir Mahama Toure has been a four-time member of parliament, right? From 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024, he's won this election in there. In that constituency, but the MPP want to test their mettle. The General Secretary says they're going to win. Dr. Jonathan Asantioche is joining us on Zoom right now. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. I mean, the history of that constituency is clear, is it not? I mean, how does this decision by the MPP to contest this by-election, if eventually announced by Electoral Commission, strike you?
Well, let me say good evening to your good self and to your viewers, and to wish you a prosperous new year. Of course, MPP is a big party. They have the resources, if they so desire, to contest the Ayawaso East. But there are so many factors that will work against, and that is something that they should not delude themselves, from. And the fact is that even if you are not going to look at 2024 results, we are looking at a situation where the presidential candidate of the NC then had over 22,000, votes, and that of Dr. Bawumia having a little over 8,000. That represents, 72.92% for Mr. Mahama and 25.96% for Dr. Bawumia. So you can imagine the difference. The gap is just too huge for anybody to think that they can easily, bridge it. And then if you look at the parliamentarians or the parliamentary candidates that contested, the late Nazir Mahama had 22,139, representing 70.85%. He even had a little, about 1 point something percentage less than what Mr. Mahama had. And if you look at the way and manner that he has, that particularly resonate well with the masses, both the MPP and the NDC, then it means that whoever comes after him will definitely have that particular sympathy vote. So if I am going back to the factors that I intended to talk about, if you look at the economic trajectory, central government influence on that particular constituency. And what do I mean by that? If you look at the macroeconomic indicators, the likes of inflation, the interest rate, the CD to the dollar, generally seeing reduction in prices of goods and services, fuel for that matter, cement building materials, and so on and so forth. And if you look at the way and manner Ghanaians, had to go back home to enjoy the Christmas for the 2025 year that just passed, then it's still I'm of the view that the current government, the president, they are still enjoying the goodwill, of the masses. And so I would just say that it is an Herculean task on the part of the MPP. Of course, if the likes of Chirabosum and Co will go into elections and say that they are going to win, the MPP that has been in government before, been in opposition, been in government, now in opposition, you do not expect them to say that they are going to lose. Of course, they will have to galvanize the grassroots to at least see how they can test their popularity and the goodwill, since the time that they came out of government. And So I think that you cannot take anything away from them when they say they will want to contest and they are going to win. But this is not supported by the reality on the ground.
Thank you very much for joining us here. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, the senior lecturer, University of Cape Coast, also Poloko Honor, is joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Appreciate it. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We have a conversation on the latest inflation rate and how things will play out in the year 2026. 5.4% is how we ended the year 2025. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo Paint?
As an interior decorator, I aim for that beautiful, elegant look. Flamingo Paint has great hiding ability to cover and transform old walls easily with just one coat.
Impressive.
For me, as a professional painter, I love Flamingo Paint because with this small paints, I paint huge area, meaning more profit for me.
Great value for money.
As an architect, Flamingo Paint, with its well-researched and solid composition, guarantees durability for all my buildings.
Flamingo Paint. Superior hiding, superior coverage, superior durability. Flamingo Paint. Simply superior.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, coming up next, Ghana's inflation has hit its lowest level in 4 years, closing 2025 at 5.4%. That's what's coming up next. The latest figure from the Ghana Statistical Service points to a sustained slowdown in price increases. This is the government statistician, Dr. Alhassan Idris, announcing this rate earlier today. I want to take a listen to him as we set the matters in context. Take a look.
Means that on average, goods and services cost 5.4% more than they did in December 2024. This result is significant, as inflation has now declined for 12 consecutive months. It fell from 6.3% in November 2025 and from 23.8% in December 2024. This represents a 22.9 percentage point decline over the year. This matters because food accounts for about 43% of household spending. Lower food inflation directly eases pressure on household budgets.
That's the government statistician there. And look at how the year 2025 was started and then what was handed over to this administration. 23.5% in January 2025. There's been a consistent decline in inflation rate till December 2025, ending at single digit 5.4%. Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie is joining us. He is a senior lecturer and executive director of CPS as well as joining us. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Now, 5.4%, single digit, the lowest in 4 years. I mean, what are the prospects going into 2026 with how we are starting the year with inflation now?
We have started well as a country. I mean, we have achieved macro stability. The debt exchange program and the IMF program have helped in achieving this stability that we are enjoying. The outlook looks positive. We have built reserves, both dollar reserves and then gold reserves. So the Bank of Ghana is in a good position to intervene as and when it becomes necessary. Exchange rates has been managed very well. Mm-hmm. The external factors also look good. Gold price, cocoa price, crude oil price is low. We have seen a reduction in fuel prices. So it looks like all the macroeconomic variables are working together for our good. The future is bright. I do not foresee any possible risk. I do not foresee any geopolitical tension. I don't foresee any disturbances, any pandemic in the near future. What we have to do as a country is to keep the fiscal discipline, because usually when the fiscal is not disciplined, the monetary will have to come and bail them out, and a lot of complications will happen. We want to see these things, as we always say, translating into the betterment of the lives of Ghanaians, i.e., we want to see the 24-hour economic program come on board so that it can create more jobs for people the way we want it. So it's good. I mean, it also creates a good environment for businesses. Businessmen and women can go and borrow at a lower cost and to do their business. If inflation is high and general macro environment is okay, it's really good for business. I think as a country, we should be proud of ourselves. We should be proud of what we have achieved. We must consolidate this and build on it to transform the economy.
So you expect this to also influence policy rate in the next MPC meeting, this 5.4% because of the inflation targeting policy the Bank of Ghana has been pursuing?
Obviously, as CPS, we predicted that the policy rate for the year 2026 will fall below 15%, given the disinflation process that we have seen. So currently it's around 18. We hope that by the end of the 2026, it will fall below 15. If it's around 12 or between 10 and 15, it's fine, so that businessmen and women can borrow at a relatively lower cost. Remember that the central bank or the governor has indicated that the central bank is pursuing single-digit interest rates. I doubt if we can achieve that in 2026, but maybe in the medium term, in the next 3 years, if we go on this trajectory, it's likely that we can get that single-digit interest rate.
And I thank you very much for joining us this evening. That is Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie there with his thoughts on the latest inflation rate. And there he is, the Executive Director of the Center for Policy Scrutiny, CPS, and then also a senior lecturer there at the University of Ghana. He's an economist as well. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com, especially on the breaking news that we brought to you regarding the current status of Kenneth Nana Ofori-Atta in the United States. What we are learning based on the statement from his lawyers in Ghana is that the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE, as of yesterday, detained the former finance minister, Kenneth Ofori-Atta, regarding the status of his current stay in the United States. His U.S. legal team is in contact with ICE and expects the matter to be resolved expeditiously. Mr. Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of his status in the U.S., which authorizes a person to stay in the United States legally past the period of validity of their visa. Under U.S. law, a change of status by this method is common. And his lawyers say the public is therefore advised to note that Kenneth Ofori-Atta, as a law-abiding person, is fully cooperating with ICE to have this issue resolved. There's more of this on 3news.com. Join us same time tomorrow for a conversation. I'm Alfred Consi. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso Insecticide.